GM's LS engine has to be one of the greatest engines to ever be made for project cars, and let's get into why. What's up guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to talk about a few engines that are really good for project cars. Before recording this video, I really noticed lots of my friends have project cars, and I was just thinking, what are some of the best engines to really put inside of them? Now in this video, I'm going to give you guys 7 of the greatest car engines that you guys can put inside of your project cars, in my opinion of course. I do want to say the usual thank you guys for all the support you guys have been giving me in these videos. It's actually crazy. I was asking for 250 subscribers in these next few days, and now we're almost at 300. So let's try to hit 300 and keep pushing. You guys are the best. I love you guys so much. And let's get into the video. So let's first talk about what I had just brought up, which is the LS series. This crazy V8 made by GM is really known because of their Corvettes and how nice it sounds. Not only does it sound nice, they're pretty reliable, and if they do break, they're not like BMWs where they're like $500 for one little vacuum seal. Overall, with it being a V8, the only downfall with this is really the MPG. But hey, you're driving a project car. Who really cares about that? Personally, I have a Subaru, and sooner or later, it will explode. So what I'm planning to do is once that thing explodes, quickly pop in an LS if it does fit inside and hope for the best. I truly think the only cons it has is maybe because it's old and its reliability is a bit iffy, and the MPG. But besides that, it's great, and it's also known for being great for drift cars. Just a great cheap way to get 400 plus horsepower. Now let's move on to our number 6 spot, and let's talk about the Honda boys, aka the K series. Now I'm not the biggest Honda guy, but I have heard a thing or two about the K series, and oh my gosh, they are insane. With the K series being a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, it's way different compared to the LS. It has half of the cylinders and is 10 times more reliable, with it having better MPG as well. Kinda. What I mean kind of is with you getting this and putting it inside of your project car, you really can't have good MPG with the tunability on these crazy engines. With it being naturally aspirated, you could already have over 400 horsepower. Now imagine if you slap a big turbo kit on it. That's gonna just be insane. Overall, the cons for this, if I am correct, they're pretty expensive for what they are, and they don't sound the greatest. Yes, I know your Honda boys love it, but not everyone likes the raspiness of those 4 cylinders. But in my opinion, I do, but most people don't. But now let's go into our next spot, which is gonna be the Ford Coyote V8. Now the iconic 5.0. I love this car to death, and the engine is nothing little of it. The 5.0 is a very great naturally aspirated V8, which we just brought up before with the LS, but it's a bit newer. With that being said, you could find much more of these with very low miles. And if you slap a supercharger on this thing, you're pushing almost 1,000 horsepower, which is no joke whatsoever. If you aren't really swapping the 5.0 Coyote, 1,000 horsepower is a crazy amount for your Mustang to handle. These cars are really hard to grip, but if you do get a good enough setup for your rear differential, you'll just be fine. Now with us moving on to the 4th position, let's talk about the SR20 DET. These are great, reliable, tunable 4-cylinder engines which were made by Nissan. And no, we're not talking about current Nissan, we're talking about the golden age 90s Nissan. They came in the 240SX, 180SX, and just Silvia chassis, which are really all the same car. They just all have different names because they're made in different places like North America, Australia, and Japan. Overall, these engines are just like most Japanese engines. They're small, reliable, and sound pretty good. With them coming on 240SXs, they also are pretty cheap as well, with them being so easily attainable. I would overall recommend this engine to anyone if they can't afford the K series because it's a great alternative with a 4-cylinder. If anything, you can compare the LS to the Coyote and the K series to the SR DET. They both are pretty much the high and low quality versions of each other, but they're all really good for a project car. It just matters what you're looking for pros and cons. And once again, if I am correct, the SR20 DETs are amazing engines for drifting. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the Silvias know how to drift. Now let's talk about one that not a lot of people would expect, and that's the BMW S54. Found in the E46 M3 chassis, the S54 rips. With it being an S engine, and if you guys didn't know, the S engines are pretty much all the engines that go inside of the M cars. It's quite literally an amazing engine. With it being our first 6-cylinder engine, it's a 30.2 liter inline 6, and it just rips. The one downfall to this engine is really it's a BMW and the reliability isn't all there, but it's not as bad compared to the other BMW engines. This engine also comes as a naturally aspirated engine. But if you do tune it, you could go all the way up to almost 500 horsepower, and imagine if you give forced induction. And with how old and used these engines are, I'm sure there's a huge aftermarket for this car. So whether it's new part or a big turbo kit or whatever you want for this engine, it's really good, just like all these other engines on the list. Overall for me, something that I really like about this car is just the sound. The S54 sounds like no other inline 6 just because it's a 3.2 liter and not 3.0. But overall, it's a very solid engine, and let's move on to our next car. Now going to my number 2 spot, let's talk about the rotary engine. Yes, that car's engine. So the 13B, the 1.3 liter naturally aspirated or forced induction rotary engine. With it coming with 2 rotors and having so little oil inside of it, it's super lightweight, can make decent power, but it is unreliable. These engines are super easy to work with and can be swapped in every single car. With it being so tiny, high revving, and easy to put in the car, it really is a sought out engine. The one loss to this engine is it's a bit overhyped and the maintenance on it is very high. People don't understand this, but the rotary engine isn't perfected. Only Mazda has really been doing it with mass production, and they've even stopped with it now. But overall, this car with forced induction can push lots and lots of horsepower and make your car super lightweight. It's a really good engine just for the canyons and really drifting. So I would put this in my car if I had the money for it. But sadly, you know how maintenance goes. Now let's talk about our number 1 spot, and that's gonna be the cheap 2JZ, which is the N54. Now let's talk about the BMW's N54 engine. It's a 3.0 liter single turbo 6-cylinder engine, and quite literally does everything a 2JZ does, just without the reliability. There's so much I could talk about right now with this car, but if it's well maintained and put correctly inside of the correct car, it is perfection. You're quite literally getting the overhyped 2JZ engine inside of your car for half the price. Overall, it sounds the same, looks the same, weighs the same. It's the same engine, just made by BMW, so it's a bit more unreliable. The engine has a huge aftermarket and the tunability on it is just wild. It truly is one of my favorite engines on this list, and I think you guys should get it if you guys want to have some fun.
I'm kidding, don't get it unless if you like BMWs, they break down every second.
And that's coming with personal experience. Anyways guys, this is the end of the video, and I really do hope you guys enjoyed it. These are 7 cars you could put inside your guys' project cars or future project cars to come. I know most people don't have it because it really is an expensive hobby, but these are the best engines in my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for all the support, and let's hit that 300 subscribers. We're so close. Anyways guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.